Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Boca Raton, a religious community free in faith, diverse in thought, united in caring, and committed to action. I'm Bet Willett, your worship associate today, joined by Eric Landstrom, your service coordinator. Our service will begin shortly, and now would be a good time to silence all your phones and electronic devices. If you didn't pick up a hymnal and an order of service on your way in, raise your hand and one of our excellent ushers will bring them to you. And if you're attending this morning's service as a participant on Zoom, welcome. Our Zoom chaplain this morning is Cindy. Please say hello, Cindy. Tell us how many members are on Zoom today.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. We have 17 participants on Zoom today.
That's wonderful. We are so glad you can all join us. In fact, if you're in the sanctuary with me, let's wave at the web camera and greet our online participants. Turn around and face the back and wave. We said hi. Take a minute to say hello to those around us and wave to people across the room, especially to visitors and guests. Now let us quiet ourselves, bringing the whole of our being into this sacred hour. A listing of events happening at the fellowship appears in the order of service, with special announcements listed on the insert. A few informational slides will roll as our music director, Marina Machado. I'm going to have to find out how to say your last name. Machado. Oh, I almost got it right. Okay, Marina Machado performs The Great Gig in the Sky.
Good morning. Welcome to worship at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Boca Raton. Whether you're a longtime member, a returning visitor, or joining us for the first time, we're truly glad you're here. My name is Nader Tavakoli, and I serve on the board of our fellowship. This is my first time doing the Trustee Welcome, and I'm both honored and humbled to stand before you today. I invite the board members who are in the sanctuary or on Zoom this morning to raise their hands. Look for us after the service. We're glad to answer any questions you may have about the fellowship or just to say hello. To better serve our members, friends, and visitors, we ask those in the Cleary Sanctuary to sign the attendance sheets that are in the brown folios at the end of each of the chairs, in each of the rows, sorry. If I could ask those nearest to the end chair, please start the process by signing in and passing the folio to the person next to you. The last person to sign the attendance sheet should then pass the folio back to be returned to the canvas tote at the end of each row. Thank you for your help. And if you're visiting for the first time or are returning after an absence and feel comfortable doing so, we invite you to introduce yourself. Anyone? If you are on Zoom, please type a note into the chat and tell us who you are, and if you wish, the location you're joining us from. Our Zoom chaplain will share your chat with us. You can also add your email address to be added to our mailing list. If you're attending in person and wish to introduce yourself, please raise your hand and a mic will be brought to you. No takers. Okay. I also wanted to take a moment to share something more personal. Since joining this church, I've been deeply impressed by the dedication and commitment of the board members and the many members who serve on our various committees. Their selfless service and thoughtful leadership have made me feel both welcomed and inspired. There are two quotes I'd like to share that speak to the heart of what the community represents, one from Rumi and one from Hafez, both of them 13th and 14th century Persian mystic poets whose words continue to speak across centuries and cultures, and particularly to me since I'm Persian. Rumi wrote, "The lamps are different, but the light is the same. Try to learn to let what it simply is be. The soul has been given its own ears to hear things the mind does not understand. Why struggle to open a door between us when the whole wall is an illusion?" Hafez wrote, "I'm in love with every church and mosque and temple and any kind of shrine, because I know it's there that people say the different names of the one divine." To me, these words reflect the spirit of the fellowship, a place where differences are celebrated, where community is built on respect, and where diversity of beliefs is welcomed with love and curiosity. Now let us take a moment to center ourselves and come together and worship. With that, I think we do the covenant. Love is the doctrine of this faith, the quest for truth, its sacrament, and service, its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, to the end that all shall grow into harmony. Thus do we covenant with one another. Thank you.
Should get near this. The sanctuary of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Boca Raton resides today on the traditional homelands and unceded territories of the Native American tribes who once called Palm Beach County home. We encourage all to learn about the significance of the early inhabitants, the Jaga, Tequesta, Seminole, and Miccosukee tribes. We pay respect to the resiliency of their tribal members, past and present, and to all indigenous peoples, their way of life, their profound connection to the land, and their enduring legacy in South Florida region and throughout the nation. With gratitude, we honor the land itself and its stewards over generations with a collective knowledge of the past. We are inspired to teach, live, and support a future that empowers all individuals.
To the Four Directions, a welcome written by Joan Godwin. Spirit of the East, spirit of air, of morning and springtime, be with us as the sun rises, in times of beginnings, times of planting. Inspire us with a fresh breath of courage as we go forth into new adventures. Please repeat after me. Welcome. Welcome. Spirit of the South, spirit of fire, of noontime and summer, be with us through the heat of the day and help us to be ever growing. Warm us with strength and energy for the work that awaits. Please repeat after me. Welcome. Spirit of the West, spirit of water, of evening and autumn, be with us as the sun sets and help us to enjoy a rich harvest. Flow with us with a cooling, healing quietness and bring us peace. Please repeat after me. Welcome. Spirit of the North, spirit of earth, of nighttime and winter, be with us in the darkness, in times of gestation. Ground us in the wisdom of the changing seasons as we celebrate the spiraling journey of our lives. Please repeat after me. Welcome. Spirit of life, spirit of seed and sun and starlight, be with us as we celebrate the unfolding of our endless potential. Help us to grow into wisdom, joy, and love, and infuse new beginnings and second chances with open hearts. Please repeat after me. Welcome.
Moving the dowel over the singing bowl causes vibration. Vibrations build resonance, and resonant overtones bring harmony. I invite you to listen to the swell and fade of the sound and exist harmoniously. As you enter into a quiet, centered place within, breathe in acceptance and breathe out release until the silence is all that remains. As we light our chalice in the sanctuary this morning, we invite those participating on Zoom to light a candle or chalice as well, and join us in considering these words by Wendell Berry. We clasp the hands of those that go before us, and the hands of those who come after us. We enter the little circle of each other's arms and the larger circle of lovers, whose hands are joined in a dance, and the larger circle of all creatures passing in and out of life who move also in a dance. to a music so subtle and vast that no ear hears it except in fragments.
Please rise and join us as you are able, singing our gathering hymn number 301, Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky, in the great singing living tradition hymn. Lyrics for 301 will appear on the screen.
Mary Wears What She Wants by Keith Negley. Once upon a time, but not too long ago, girls weren't allowed to wear pants. Can you imagine? The only thing little girls could wear were uncomfortable dresses, heavy and hot and hard to breathe in dresses, tied too tight and can't bend over dresses. It's the way things have always been, and the way things will always be, they said, and no one thought it could be any different. Actually, the last part is not entirely true. Mary thought it could be different, and she had an idea. A very daring idea. A great idea. Mary liked it so much, she went into town to show everyone. It was kind of a big deal. And not everyone liked it. "You're gonna regret wearing pants, Mary Walker," they all said. "No, I won't," Mary said back. But she kind of did. Mary didn't understand why everyone cared so much about what she wore. "They've never seen a girl wearing pants before," said her father. "Sometimes people get scared of what they don't understand." "Should I go back to wearing dresses?" asked Mary. "I didn't say that," said her dad. That night, Mary didn't get a wink of sleep. The next morning, Mary decided she didn't like being told what to wear. Pants were just plain better in all sorts of ways. As she left for school, she discovered she could even walk faster in pants. which Mary really appreciated. But when Mary got to school, it was more of the same. She started to worry that this is how things were going to be from now on. "I'd like to go to school, please," said Mary. "But you're wearing boys' clothes," they all said. "I'm not wearing boys' clothes," said Mary. "I'm wearing my clothes. Now, if you'll excuse me, please, I'm late for school." And with that, she pushed through the door and went inside, prepared for more of the same. Except it wasn't the same at all. And it was never the same again.
Let the spirit of life and love draw our fellowship together now into an open circle of care. May its presence be known within us, among us, and through us, reminding us that we are not alone. We encourage you to write personal concerns and joys in the Book of Living Memory on the podium in Osias Hall. Your words in the book keep our minister current on our pastoral needs. At this time, we invite you to come close. We want to hear from you. State your name clearly and briefly speak aloud the personal concerns you hold in your heart. Please keep it to a few sentences to respect everyone's time. Gently release a stone into the water, and after, let the weight fall from your heart. If you're unable to come forward, please raise your hand and a microphone will be brought to you. For those joining us on Zoom, please share your concerns in the chat. For all concerns, spoken and unspoken this morning, we place this stone in the water and offer these words followed by a time of silence. A Prayer for Spring by the poet Robert Frost. Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away as the uncertain harvest. Keep us here, all simply in the springing of the year. Oh, give us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghosts by night. And make us happy in the happy bees, the swarm dilating around the perfect trees. And make us happy in the darting bird that suddenly above the bees is heard, the meter that thrusts in with needle bill and off a blossom in midair stands still. For this is love, and nothing else is love, the which it is reserved for God above, to sanctify to what for ends he will, but which it only needs that we fulfill. Now let us share a time of sacred silence. Eric?
It is in giving and receiving that we weave a life worth living. Please remain seated as we sing our congregational response, Loosen, composed by Halpert. Lyrics will appear on the screen, and as you sing, the choir is going to be singing a descant melody to accompany you all. We invite you to participate as you are able to in a gentle grounding strategy. Try tapping your hand gently on your heart. Just rest the heel of your hand on your chest bone, wherever it's comfortable, and gently tap the flat of your fingers above your heart, rhythmically tapping in time with a light touch to the beat of music helps with stress relief and helps regulate the nervous system. Marina? Good morning, everyone. I'm Eric Landstrom. That's probably the most important part of our pulpit up here, the coffee. We gather this morning for our annual celebration of the first week of May to mark the end of spring and the arrival of summer. In ancient times, this was celebrated with Beltane, bonfires, and dancing around the maypole. In modern times, we continue this tradition. One of the 6 sources of Unitarian Universalism draws from the sacred teachings of earth-centered traditions which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. We also look to the words and deeds of prophetic people and the results of science. Last year, during our Beltane service, we shared the life story of Mary Edward Walker, a trailblazer in the 1800s who relentlessly pursued her desire to be a medical doctor. During the American Civil War, she served as the first U.S. Army female surgeon, often crossing battle lines to care for wounded soldiers and to act as a spy. For her military service, she is the first and only woman to be awarded the Medal of Honor. Walker was also a woman suffragette, for the vote and a dress reform advocate, because Mary wears what she wants. The United States Mint has been honoring notable women like Dr. Walker by issuing quarters that celebrate their accomplishments. 5 women annually are selected and their coins are circulated through the country. Each quarter features females from a variety of fields. Women who made ethnic and racial and geographically diverse backgrounds with contributions in civil rights and government, abolition and suffrage, science and space exploration, humanity and the arts. In short, women who inspired change are on our change. Today, in calling the quarters for Beltane, we look at the life of Vera Cooper Rubin, a path-breaking astronomer whose work included finding the invisible pillars of the heavens. Now, it might seem weird on a pagan holiday to honor a Jewish astronomer by using a verse from the Quran. But believe me, it's going to get weirder, much weirder. But you know, the message of today's sermon is about believing in yourself even when no one can see it. So you kind of knew it was going to be weird. Let me first back up and start with our maypole. Dancing around the maypole is a tradition so old that its origins and original meaning are forgotten and faded into folklore. Some scholars classify maypoles as symbols of the world axis, the cosmic connection between the lower and the upper realms. And there's evidence for veneration by the pagans of various sacred trees and wooden pillars across much of ancient Europe. In Norse paganism, the universe was a world tree known as Yggdrasil, with roots that reach into the underworld and the rainbow bridge reaching between its branches to the 9 worlds, like ribbons on a maypole. Odin All-Father hung himself on Yggdrasil for 9 nights and 9 days to gain knowledge of the runic alphabet, which he passed on to humanity to increase human skill in magic and poetry. And when the Thimble winter falls before Ragnarok, at the end of the world, it is in the safety of Yggdrasil that the last 2 people, Lif and Liftharsir, will hide beneath its bark. So after the ice and fire pass, they emerge from them, future generations will spring. However, the saga of the Norsemen that we have today are garbled and full of guesses. Vikings converted to Christianity and only then had the sacred stories written down. In the same way, people throughout Europe continue to light bonfires on the night before the 1st of May. It was Hexenacht, the witches' night, long, long before it was St. Walpurgis night. It was handed down the generations and became a feast day for an 8th century Christian saint named Walpurga, who converted pagans, and now, ironically, helps neo-pagans like me to understand, however imperfectly, myths and meanings of maypole dances and bonfires at Beltane. Yes, it's a half-remembered ritual to reenact that we are halfway to Halloween, to protect against witchcraft and winter spirits. But it is as much about fear as it is fighting for freedom, an act of resistance in a ribbon. When we dance around the maypole, we aren't acting silly. We're breaking silly rules of society. It's a small act of rebellion against an oppressive authority that wants to rule our every action, tell us what to do, what to think, what to feel. It stops them from stomping on our past, erasing our history, and rewriting our memories. It's true at all times, but it is especially true now. Joy is an act of resistance. The writer Audre Lorde reminds us that joy gives us energy for change, a force that helps us resist the suffocating structures and wearying status quo that breed apathy and exhaustion. In the face of that paralysis, joy becomes an act of resistance. When communities battered by systematic oppression continue to find joy, they wave a powerful flag of defiance. We will not be defeated. The late Pope Francis said in his 2017 TED Talk, many of us nowadays seem to believe that a happy future is something impossible to achieve. While such concerns must be taken very seriously, they are not invincible. They can be overcome if we don't lock our door to the outside world. Happiness can only be discovered as a gift of harmony between the whole and each single component. Even science, and you know better than I, points to an understanding of reality as a place where every element connects and interacts with everything else. How wonderful it would be if the growth of scientific and technological innovation would come along with more equality and social inclusion. How wonderful it would be, while we discover faraway planets, to rediscover the needs of our brothers and sisters orbiting us. How wonderful. Can our fellowship still laugh, sing, dance, and celebrate? How wonderful. Can we lift our head, raise our voices, and together raise our banners high? How wonderful. Can we wave our banners in spite of it all and because of it all, and we are still here? And if we could, would that look wonderful? Will it? Yeah, let's see. Go ahead, wave your banners. Great. Right, hold on to those. And enjoy that wonderful joy and that energy for change. You can do that by joining our Healing Justice group. Dr. Vera Rubin said in an interview, "I'm Jewish, so religion to me is kind of a moral code and kind of history. I think if you're a good person, and I don't know what that is, but we can imagine, religion is not the most important thing. It's what they do and how they do it that's really more important." Vera, early in her career, struggled to gain recognition as a female astronomer in a mostly male-dominated field. Throughout her career, she fought to bring down barriers to research that women face due to pervasive sexism. In addition to her research, Rubin was a devoted champion for women in STEM, a beloved mentor to other women astronomers, and she fought for gender parity in science. She pushed for equal representation of women on scientific committees, as conference speakers, and as professors. It took her decades to gather her data for reasons that range from silly to really, really silly. She was denied the use of the Hale telescope at Palomar Observatory because they said there are only men's bathrooms. Women were not allowed to use the bathrooms back in the 1960s. She was told that there was only the one gender bathroom. So what she did was really quite clever. She cut out a triangle of paper and taped it onto the stick figure of the man on the men's room door. She turned around and said, "Look, it's the women's room now." And she got to work. And Rubin's research was so important. It shifted scientific concepts of the universe, and it opened new directions for research in astronomy and in physics. The woman who was treated as invisible by her peers found evidence of dark matter, the unseen material that binds galaxies together and governs stellar motion. And it's believed to make up more than 80% of the universe's mass. Less than 20% of the universe is normal atomic matter of electrons and protons, leptons and quarks. That is mind-boggling. Our molecules are surrounded and suffused by much, much more dark matter, and we can't sense it. Now, extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof, according to Carl Sagan, like he used to say. So what proof did Rubin offer Sagan and the rest of the cosmological community? Because as mentioned, we can't see dark matter. To have it give structure and rotational speed to galaxies is as fantastic as Yggdrasil supporting the 9 realms. And Vikings believed in a very visible, rainbow-colored, big, bright Bifrost bridge to travel between the realms, like this. Okay, so to help explain, I'm going to ask for the assistance of our music director, Marina Machado. She's going to use the piano for some simple sonification of Rubin's data. Sonification is when we use audio to convey the information, like images transformed into sound. Elements of an image, like its brightness or its position, could be assigned a pitch or a volume. So auditory perception as an alternative to visualization. Sonification of colors might go like this. On the rainbow, each color of light is a different wavelength, with red being the longest wavelength at 700 nanometers, and violet at about 400 nanometers. So let's encode the color's information so that the shorter the wavelength is, the higher the note is. Play red as the lowest note of a middle octave, a middle C. Orange has a shorter wavelength, so it has a higher note, a D. Yellow, green, blue would be E, F, G. We can listen to light. We can also listen to the loudness of light. We can use amplitude of sound to understand its meaning. Blue ribbon holders. Blue ribbon holders, blue ribbon holders. Cool, blue ribbon holders, get ready. If Marina plays the middle G loudly, what then? Hold up your ribbon to indicate the higher the volume. Yeah. The higher the volume, the higher the height. Yellow ribbons, yellow ribbons. What if she plays a faint F? Faint F. Forte F. Triple forte F. Yeah, good. Right. Okay, red ribbons. I need all y'all's help next. Red and orange ribbons, actually. This is an astrophotograph from the Hubble Space Telescope. Different spirally arms, right? And from the swirly, spirally arms, you know that they're spinning. What Vera Rubin wanted to know was how fast and in which direction are they spinning. Suppose she measures some orange giant stars for reference. So these are in the middle of the center. And then from the middle to the left, and then to the right. So the stars sound like a major middle D chord. She moves her measurements in what she thinks is the direction of galactic rotation away from the Earth. So it's going to be different, right? Orange and red, how different? Show me with your ribbons. Do you think it's going to be louder, or do you think it's going to be quieter? Remember, high is loud. All right, so you're all holding it pretty high. Okay. What if I told you that actually the orange stars drop down a full octave? Yeah, the further from the middle line of reference, the lower the D chord is played. And when she moves her measurements over to the other side, to the middle, in the direction that she thinks is now coming towards the Earth, how should she expect that major D chord to be played? Yeah, an octave above. Show me with your ribs. Yeah. Good. Okay, we got it. So if it's lower, it's moving away, and if it's higher, it must be moving. Yeah, here's the thing though, it doesn't actually jump the full octave all at once. Then that's where all y'all red ribbons come in. Rubin is measuring the shift of the motion away in the spiral arms by what we call the apparent red shift in stars. So how much did the Doppler shift actually from D down to C, down to B? Yeah, from orange to red to purple. Yeah? Okay, all ribbons down, all ribbons down. Red, orange, green, pink, cool. Okay, I want you all to imagine that you are Vera Rubin. You are observing the orbital speeds of stars in the outer part of spiral galaxies. Let me see the graph. Okay, vote with your ribbons, everyone holding them up. When you are at 5,000 light years from the center, Do you think you are going faster or slower? No, show me with your ribbons. All right, when you are 10,000 light years from the center, how fast do y'all think you are going? Faster or slower? When you get to be 15,000 light years from the center, faster or slower? I hear slower. I'm also seeing slower. You guys are holding a little lower. About 20,000 light years, faster or slower? Yeah, like only a few of you got it. Okay, so we start off fast, and then we get lower, and then lower still, and then lower still. And this is what that expected graph would look like, if we were to plot that. Just like the planets. Earth takes 1 year to go around the sun. Jupiter takes 12 years. Jupiter is further out. Neptune, right, takes 160 years because it's 30 times further from the sun than the Earth is. All right? Okay, I am now going to read off Rubin's observations, roughly. Marina is going to sonify the data for us. And again, I invite you to be mathletes to show the changes in height of the speed where slower is going to be lower. Okay? All right, so at 50,000 light years, the velocity is 163 kilometers per second. 7,500, it's up to 250. At 12,500, it drops to 210 kilometers per second. At 17,000, it jumps up to 2,010. At 19,000, it's at 226. At 22,000, it's at 235. At 25,000, it's up to 230. So what we observe, well, this is the galactic rotation problem. And I told you it was weird. Rubin repeated her observation over 60 galaxies. The slope of the graph, or the shift in the pitch, should remain essentially flat, right? As you get further, you should be getting slower. Instead, the excess speed of distant stars required an excess mass beyond what existed in those stars. Otherwise, the faster moving stars would just be flung right out of the galaxy and fly off into the universe. The only explanation that made sense is that there is some dark matter that does not shine, but has strength of gravity to hold spiral galaxies together. And it keeps them from tearing themselves apart. And by logical extension, that dark matter exists within the star systems of those spiral galaxies. And if it exists within the star systems, then it exists even within the planets, even within our Earth, even within the walls of our sanctuary. Some exotic, as yet undetected element makes up stars and planets and people. People like me, people like you, people like Marina Machado and Bette Willett and Cindy Mulaney and the Reverend Edith Love and Mary Walker Edwards and Dr. Vera Rubin. When you hold a Vera Rubin quarter, what you're actually holding is over 3/4 dark matter based on Vera's clear observational evidence that confirmed the vast majority of the mass of the universe is hidden. You are holding in the palm of your hand a piece of the invisible pillar of heaven. And when you hold a ribbon from the maypole and wave it about or weave it around during the dance, you hold a piece of the invisible pillars of heaven. When you smash the patriarchy, you hold a piece of the pillar. When you resist authoritarianism and anti-intellectualism, or fascism and fundamentalism, you hold a piece of the pillar. When you use joy as an act of rebellion, you hold a piece. And when you kindly listen to a Unitarian Universalist pagan talk for about 20 minutes about a Jewish feminist astronomer in a sermon that pulled a quote from the Quran, chapter 31, "He hath created the heavens without visible pillars to sustain them," then, oh, my beloveds, you hear what you have always known to be true without any proof, that your inner life is infinite and holding up the invisible pillars of heavens. Thank you. Blessed be. Namaste. Amen.
That was wonderful. Each week, we take an offering that we share with organizations that strengthen our larger community, and the other half of today's collection stays here to strengthen our fellowship. Ushers, please start passing the baskets. Okay. This morning, we share our plate with the Institute for Regional Conservation. It's headquartered in Delray Beach. They seek to protect and restore viable populations of all native plants and animal species within our region. Your generosity helps create a stronger, healthier, and more resilient community for all. Let us give with open hearts. We gratefully acknowledge this offering today with "Now is the Month of Maying," a famous Renaissance madrigal by Thomas Morley, sung by the Chalice Choir.
Each with his bonny lass upon the greeny grass. Each with his bonny lass upon the greeny grass. The spring glad all in gladness doth laugh at winter's sadness. La 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 la. The spring glad all in gladness doth laugh at winter's sadness. La 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 la. And to the bagpipe sound, the nymphs tread underground. La 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 la. And to the bagpipe sound, the nymphs tread underground. La 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 la. Fine wine and sifting musing, youth sweet delights refusing. La 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 la. By them was if we musing, youth sweet delights refusing. La 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 la. Say, dainty nymphs and spake, shall we play barley break? La 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 la. Say, dainty nymphs and spake, shall we play barley break? La 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 la.
The writer, Andre Lorde, said, "The sharing of joy, whether physical, emotional, psychic, or intellectual, forms a bridge between the sharers which can be the basis for understanding much of what is not shared between them, and lessens the threat of their difference. Let the spirit of life and love draw our fellowship together now into an open circle of shared joy. If something wonderful has happened this past week to you or a loved one, we want to hear it. Please come to the mic up front and speak your joy as you would your concern. Please be sure to tell us your name, speak a little slower than usual so every word is heard, and keep your joy to a single sentence. If you are not able to move easily to the microphone, we will bring a mic to you. On Zoom, type your joy in to the chat and it will be read aloud by the Zoom chaplain. Please remember, a joy is something that has happened, whereas an announcement is something that will happen. If you have an announcement, send it to Ruth in the office by Friday so it can be included in the Sunday e-blast and the program insert. Sharing joy increases joy. Let the circle of our shared joy deepen, widen, and expand until it encompasses the whole world.
Updates and announcements. There we go. The welcome team, you probably saw in the insert today, would like you to know newcomer welcome session is canceled for today so that everyone can enjoy the May festivities after the service. Next newcomer welcome session will be on Sunday, June 1st. Please look for Sharon or Jennifer if you'd like to pick up a newcomer packet today. Reverend Edith is going to be hosting a Zoom meeting for the Pagan Study Group on Wednesday evening, May 12th, from 6 to 7 p.m. Get on the email list for information about religious education and rituals that have an earth-centered spirituality focus. Other announcements. I did not check my email before the start of service. No? Cool, okay. We thank the powers of the guardian spirits, rulers of the elemental realms, the firmness of earth, the flow of water, the freedom of the air, and the fierceness of the fire. We thank the goddess, bright lady of the moon, and the god, horned hunter of the sun. We thank the creative spirit, the source of life and love. We give thanks for the beauty of this day and the company assembled here. Blessed be.
As we extinguish the chalice in the sanctuary and Zoom participants extinguish their chalice at home, please join in reciting and remembering. We extinguish this, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Please join us standing or sitting and singing our parting hymn number 311, Let It Be Again, to the grave singing the Living Division Hymn. Lyrics to 311 will be on the screen. Through the good times and the bad times.
Is this me or you?
As we prepare to leave this sacred space, spirits grant us the power of water for serenity and grace to accept the things we cannot change, the power of fire for courage and energy to change the things we can, the power of air for the wisdom and ability to know the difference, and the power of earth for strength and sureness to continue our path. As above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. Blessed be. Namaste. Amen. Let it be a dance.